What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today we continue our lore on the Arks of Omen. We've covered Book 1, Abaddon, Book 2, Angron, Book 3, Vashtor, and today we're going over the second to the last book, Farsight. You can check out the entire playlist for an in-depth review, but to basically give you a quick summary, this is what's gone so far in the Arks of Omen storyline. So the demigod of technology, Vashtor the Archifane, has teamed up with none other than Abaddon the Despoiler to hunt for these fragments of an artifact known as the Silver Key. This key would unlock a great power for Abaddon and also allow Vashtor to ascend to a full-fledged Chaos God. To do this, they need to have all the fragments, and they have also conjured up massive chaos-corrupted space hulks known as the Arks of Omen. They have gifted these to their minions, and they have now traversed the stars to collect all the pieces. The demon Primarch of Khorne, Angron, also spearheads an assault, and he attains a fragment while also corrupting an entire sector of space, all to the Blood God's devotion. But all is not going according to plan for Chaos, for Vashtor's assault on the Dark Angel's Fortress Monastery of the Rock has thwarted him, but it's only a minor setback. Now we move on to the new lore. In the Farsight Enclave sector of space, the Orcs have proven to be a thorn in the Tau's side. Commander Farsight's tactics have proven too powerful, and they have held Nazdreg's Orcs at bay. It wasn't until an Orc Weirdboy let out a psychic assault at Commander Farsight that almost killed him. This attack also gave him a vision. Visions of a bloody warrior surrounded by skulls and wielding a massive axe. To his surprise, this warrior was none other than himself. But this wasn't the first time he had seen this vision. Long ago, upon the dead world of Arthas Moloch, he saw himself in this way when he first picked up the Dawnblade. Coming back to his senses, Farsight took command and continued the war on Nazdreg's wall. During the fighting, the Tau found out about a teleporter technology, and they switched tactics to blow up this dangerous Orc contraption. A massive ground war spread Farsight's forces thin, and one of the 8 was almost destroyed. It was Ab Lotai 9-0. However, Farsight and his 8 faced Nazdreg atop the Telefraga weapon and overloaded its energy cores. This allowed them to escape while the Orc Warlord and his uncompleted Telefraga got sucked into the warp. While the Orcs were left in disarray, the Tau began to clean up the remaining greenskins until a warp tear reopened up. But this time, it wasn't Nazdreg. It was a massive Ark of Omen, led by a Black Legion demon prince, Ugalax, the Soul Eater. Farsight reconvened with the 8 to figure out how to beat both of their opponents. They couldn't retreat for fear that they'll bring war to their inhabited worlds, so there was only one option: a ground war upon the dead world of Arthas Moloch. His gambit paid off, and the Orcs and the Chaos Fleet followed. Knowing this could very well be the Enclave's last battle, Farsight sent word to the Tau Empire for support, offering himself up as payment. But the only response he got back from the Tau Empire was that they would not send aid, and that they welcomed his death. The ground war began, and Farsight's plan had the Orcs and the Chaos doing most of the fighting, while the forces of the Tau picked off key squads. Still, they were outnumbered and overwhelmed. Commander Brightsword was killed in action, and Commander Bravestorm was so badly damaged that he had to retreat from the war. With 3 of his 8 now out of the battle, Farsight had no choice but to spring his final plan. He essentially led a suicide run, drawing in both armies to the Star Dais, the location of where the ancient Malachites had once attacked him and his ethereals so long ago. As this was happening, an ancient wrecked craft was found by a Pathfinder unit. This 10,000-year-old spacecraft belonged to none other than the Dark Angels Space Marine chapter. But what was it doing here? Upon reporting these findings, their message was intercepted by a Death Watch squad in orbit. This squad wasn't Loyalist Marines, but instead, they were the hidden warriors of the Alpha Legion, and this craft was the fragment of the key that they were searching for. Under the cover of the raging battle, the Alpha Legionnaires secured this fragment and escaped back into the warp. With the jaws of death closing around the Tau, they felt a new energy pouring into them. They fought harder, they got angrier, and they welcomed the bloodshed. Now the star Dice was scorched with Xeno and Chaos blood, and the imprisoned Malachites were let loose on Farsight's enemies. Farsight relished seeing this cornet bloodletters eviscerate the enemies of him. He was lost in the whirlwind of murder, but a memory of his teacher, Commander Peertide, and his fellow students, Shadowsun and Okais, snapped him back to reality. He ordered the retreat of the Tau and allowed his enemies to finish each other off. From orbit, Farsight saw the Chaos Ark return into the warp, and the star Dice was in ruins. It seemed that its destruction also allowed life to return to the dead world. And with that being said, that brings us to the end of Book 4, Farsight. So in my opinion, this book was a little all over the place. Of course, it was a side story relating to the Arks of Omen. Not really much happened, really. It could be summed up by saying that Farsight was being tempted by Khorne, and because of this, he had a lot of back and forth, a lot of inner turmoil, and the Arks of Omen storyline didn't really make sense, because apparently there's a Dark Angel craft on Arthas Malak that was never even reported, or why was it there, or why do the Dark Angels have a fragment of the key, and none of this really makes sense. It was just kind of well, we need something to talk about the new Farsight model. Let's add them to the Arks of Omen. Let's include the Alpha Legion because they're sneaky. Let's include the Dark Angels because clearly Book 5 is going to be about the Lion. And yeah, the end part of the battle kind of didn't really make sense. Farsight did summon demons, but he didn't summon them through his own will. It was kind of he summoned the trapped demons from way back when he first got the Dawnblade, and to him these were just Malachites, but the Malachites were actually Khorne bloodletters, and it was just a three-way war. I don't know, it just seemed too weird. The model looks great for Farsight, I'll give him that, but this was just a side story that didn't really make much sense in my opinion, but still kind of cool nonetheless. Farsight being tempted by Khorne, Arthas Malak, the dead world, now that the star dice is broken, is now returning to life. There still are orcs on Arthas Malak, the orcs weren't purged. Chaos did retreat, but this was after the Alpha Legion managed to take the Dark Angel spacecraft that had the silver key fragment in it. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I didn't really like this one. I didn't really like the previous one as well with Vashtor, because the book was all about Vashtor and he didn't even win in his own book. But we got good news coming, and that's that Book 5 is titled The Lion, and finally a Loyalist Primarch makes his return to the 40k universe, and he's going to be taking on Demon Prince Angron. So hopefully that's pretty awesome. Hopefully the lore really delivers, because it's going to be the last of the Arks of Omen campaign storyline. So I'll see you guys when that drops. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Again, if you guys want to support us, Patreon is one way to help us, or dropping a super thanks. If not, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing does go a long way in helping the channel. Thanks for watching. It's been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.